My buddy had sex with our friend's sister. Yes, my buddy slept with our friend's sister. Would love to hear what people think of this. I personally would say with the sister thing, I think it's different if there's mutual interest from the two parties. If your sister is interested in your friend and they're treating each other right, it works out. Say that's different. The other part of this story that I actually did not know until years later, and of course this could all be a real story or movie script. The kid whose sister it was, he confronted him multiple times. So when this all came out, there was kind of like two sides to it. It was like, well, your sister, she's an adult. She chose to make that decision versus like, no, dude, you don't sleep with somebody's sister. As someone who has a sister, I have a hard time with that because some of my buddies I think would be great candidates to date my sister. But there's also guys will be guys, and that part of your buddy where it's like, if you date my sister, it's endgame. She's your wife, and you're going to treat her like a queen unless she decides otherwise and you guys break up. But I think that's tough on a friendship. If you're going to date my sister, you're going to treat her like a fucking queen, no exceptions. So saw both sides. And honestly, my buddy who did sleep with our friend's sister, omitting to us that he was being confronted and not telling us, that's on him. Since then, I think that beef has since been squashed. They're all either married or in newer, healthier relationships now. And those things happen, especially when you're younger. But I'd love to hear the audience's take on that because I've had a lot of buddies. We've had this discussion before. Ex-girlfriends, like if you're going to sleep with your buddy's ex-girlfriend, like that's just fucking weird. And I would say you are not a friend of mine if you do something like that. Maybe if you do happen to meet your buddy's exes or get together with them and your buddy's cool with it and it ends up being like end game, like marriage type shit, I'd say that's an exception to it. But I also just think there's no need. Like there's so many other people out there that like my rule has always been no sisters and nobody's ex-girlfriend. Because like why? Like that's just weird. And especially when it happens in the college setting, it's like what is her intention? Like she's just trying to stay tied into the friend group, or is she trying to make him jealous and you're allowing that to happen? And honestly, with the ex-girlfriend thing, like what kind of friend are you to go and sleep with your buddy's ex-girlfriend? Like unless it was like you and your buddy wanting to try to, be Eskimo bros or something like that, which is a whole nother weird thing. I mean, I know it happens in life, especially in today's society, but like, why would you do that? So on that story, while I think it's a hilarious story and it was one of the funniest things that ever happened to us, man to man, tell me, did you hook up with my sister? Looks him dead in the eyes. I did. But it was just the tip. It's what he said. You have to also look at it from both perspectives as you get older. I was like, we all, kind of sided one way or the other. But then when you hear the full story, it's like, the guy whose sister got slept with, like, yeah, he could have handled it better. The guy who slept with our buddy's sister, yeah, he could have handled it better. The whole thing could have just been handled better. But you just, it was a shame to see them kind of not become friends over that. And anytime something like that happens between friends, and this is just advice. This is nothing more than my advice from a life experience. If you're in that situation and you have something like that happen, whether it's a sister or an ex-girlfriend that gets in between two male friends, as the guys, like you just need to talk about it. Like everybody always wants to fight and start shit. It's like you have a pretty simple conversation. You get the full story on both sides, and then at that point you determine like, is this person still my friend, or is this someone who is just using people to get what they want out of life, and that's a toxic person to be around? So that's my advice from that story. Still to this day, when I think about that story, one of the funniest things that ever happened. But it did seriously impact our friend group for a long time. And again, as the person whose sister wasn't involved, I feel like that's kind of petty and childish. But these are things that happen in life, and everybody handles those type of things differently. So that's today's episode. Like I said, would really love to hear in the comments what we think of sisters and ex-girlfriends being hooking up with friends. I would love to hear hear what people have to say about that one. So that's today's episode. We'll be back with more soon. Talks with Tom.
Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get